Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into one of the most thought-provoking books in the Bible, the Book of Job. The Book of Job is one of the books in the Old Testament of the Bible, and it is a unique and profound work that explores complex theological and philosophical questions, particularly the issue of human suffering and the nature of God's justice. This isn't your typical story of good guys and bad guys. Job is a man known for his righteousness, but his life takes a dramatic turn for the worse. We're talking about major league suffering. But here's the twist. Job doesn't curse God or give up. Instead, he grapples with huge questions about faith, justice, and why bad things happen to good people. Prepare to be challenged as we explore Job's epic struggle. We'll meet some colorful characters along the way, and we might not get all the answers we crave, but this book is guaranteed to spark some serious conversation. So, buckle up and hit that subscribe button, because the Book of Job is about to get real. We're diving into the Book of Job, one of the Bible's most thought-provoking stories. Buckle up, because this tale tackles the big one, suffering. We meet Job, a super righteous dude with a blessed life. But in a heavenly court session, you heard that right? Satan convinces God to test Job's faith by bringing down the hammer. We're talking loss of wealth, family, and even health. Yikes. Job wrestles with his pain. His friends try to explain it away, but their answers leave Job feeling unheard. This is where the book gets real. Job cries out to God, demanding answers. Then, in a whirlwind, literally, God himself appears. He doesn't give Job easy answers, but reminds him of the vastness and mystery of existence. Job, humbled, finally accepts the limits of human understanding. The Book of Job doesn't provide a tidy solution to suffering, but it offers a powerful exploration of faith, doubt, and the human condition. So smash that like button and hit the comments below. What are your thoughts on the Book of Job? Setting the stage for suffering, Job 1-2 explained. Let's dive into the first 2 chapters of the Book of Job, a story that raises big questions about faith, suffering, and justice. Meet Job, a man beyond reproach. The book opens in the land of Uz, introducing Job, a man described as blameless, upright, God-fearing, and someone who avoids evil. He's basically the picture of righteousness and is blessed with a large family and abundant wealth. Imagine a highlight reel of good fortune. Enter Satan, casting doubt on Job. Now, things get interesting. We're introduced to Satan, who basically acts as the accuser in God's heavenly court. God acknowledges Job's piety and Satan basically scoffs, suggesting Job only serves God because of his blessings. Satan proposes a test. Take away everything Job has, and he'll surely curse God. The test begins. Job loses everything. God agrees to let Satan test Job, but with a twist. Job himself cannot be harmed. Cue the disaster montage. A series of messengers arrive, one after another, reporting misfortune. Job loses his livestock, servants, and even his children, all in a series of horrific events. Job responds in faith. Despite these devastating losses, Job's response is incredible. He doesn't curse God, but instead utters a powerful statement. Naked I came from my mother's womb, and naked I will depart. The Lord gave, and the Lord has taken away. May the name of the Lord be praised. Job 1:21. The stage is set. By the end of chapter 2, Job has lost everything but his life. The book doesn't tell us what he's thinking or feeling, but it sets the stage for a powerful exploration of suffering, faith, and the nature of good and evil. We're left wondering, how will Job respond to this immense suffering? Will his faith hold? Job loses it. A look at Job 3-31. Job unleashed. Up to this point, Job has suffered tremendously. He's lost his wealth, his family, and his health. His friends haven't exactly been comforting. So, something has got to give, right? Cursing the day. That's what happens in chapter 3. Job breaks. He curses the day he was born. Imagine him yelling at the heavens, wishing he'd died as a baby. It's a powerful outburst of despair, longing for peace. Job goes on to express his longing for peace. He talks about how even the dead find rest, but he's stuck in this miserable situation. He questions why God gives light to someone suffering like him, defending himself. Throughout these chapters, Job defends himself. He argues that he hasn't done anything to deserve this. He feels like God is being unfair and wants answers, yearning for a trial. By chapter 31, Job gets bold. He wants a fair trial with God. He believes he can defend his innocence. This whole section shows a side of Job we haven't seen before, a man desperate for answers and justice. Remember the context. It's important to remember the context of Job's speeches. He's not meant to be a perfect example of piety. He's a man pushed to his limits, expressing his pain and confusion. These chapters are crucial because they set the stage for the rest of the book. Job will eventually get his audience with God. Will he get the answers he craves? We left off with Job's 3 friends silenced, completely out of arguments. But wait, there's more. Enter Elihu, a new character who just couldn't hold back any longer. Elihu, young, impatient, and bursting with his own take on things. Here's the gist. Elihu's frustrated. He's mad at Job for focusing on his own righteousness instead of God's. He's also annoyed the friends couldn't defend God properly. Elihu's big speech. He takes several chapters to explain why suffering happens. Here are some key points. God is all-powerful and all-knowing. We can't question his ways. Suffering can be a way for God to teach us, refine us, or draw us closer to him. True wisdom comes from God, not just age or experience. So, is Elihu right? The Bible doesn't say. Some see him as offering a fresh perspective, others find him arrogant. There's room for debate. Job has listened, but will he be convinced? We'll find out next as God himself finally speaks in the whirlwind. Chapters 38 to 42 is where things get interesting. Job's been ranting about his suffering, feeling like God is unfair. Here, God finally responds, but not in the way Job expects. Instead of justifying himself, God asks Job a series of rhetorical questions. Imagine a booming voice saying, "Where were you when I laid the earth's foundation? You think you know suffering? Have you seen the depths of the ocean?" God basically flexes his creative power. He describes the wonders of creation, the mysteries of the natural world, things Job has no control over. It's a humbling experience. Is this a divine smackdown? Maybe a bit. God reminds Job who's in charge. But there's more. By showing off his majesty, God might be revealing a deeper truth. Job's suffering isn't about him being a bad person or God being unfair. It's part of a bigger picture Job can't comprehend. Think of it this way. An ant on a blade of grass can't understand the movement of the entire planet. Our human perspective is limited. Job doesn't get answers, but he gains a new perspective. He sees his suffering in a cosmic context. In chapter 42, Job repents, acknowledging his limited understanding. So, what's the takeaway? This passage is open to interpretation. Some see it as God silencing a rebellious servant. Others see it as a revelation of God's awesome power and the vastness of existence. The key is in Job's response. He lets go of his self-centered view and accepts the mystery. Maybe that's the real answer, accepting the limitations of human knowledge and finding peace in the unknown. Things get interesting in Job 42. Job gets schooled by God. Remember how Job spent the whole book whining to his friends and kind of to God? Well, God finally steps in and basically tells Job, "You don't know everything, dude." Job realizes he's way out of his depth and humbly repents. Turns out, God doesn't need defending. Interestingly, God also chews out Job's friends for giving bad advice. They focused on blaming Job for his suffering, which wasn't exactly helpful. This shows that blind defense of God isn't always the right answer. Restitution time. Job gets a major apology gift, double what he had before. Think sheep, camels, the whole shebang. His family comes back, and everyone throws him a huge party. The point? Job 42 reminds us that we don't always have the answers. Sometimes bad things happen, and it's not always our fault. The important thing is to stay faithful, even when we don't understand. Also, maybe don't give advice to your friends during their worst moments. They might not be in the mood for your theology lesson. So, we've dived deep into the book of Job, one of the most thought-provoking stories in the Bible. We're wrestling with big questions about suffering, faith, and the very nature of God. Theme 1. Suffering and divine justice. Why do bad things happen to good people? Job, a righteous dude, loses everything. His wealth, family, even his health. It seems totally messed up, right? Job cries out to God, demanding to know why he's suffering. This theme hits hard because it's something we can all relate to. Theme 2. The mystery of God. Job's friends try to explain his suffering with simple answers, but Job isn't convinced. Throughout the story, God remains silent. We never get a clear answer from on high. The book forces us to confront the mystery of God's ways. Theme 3. Human versus divine wisdom. Job's friends think they have all the answers, but Job challenges their limited understanding. The book reminds us that human wisdom can't grasp the vastness of God's plans. Theme 4. Faith in suffering. Despite his immense pain, Job never completely gives up on God. He grapples with his faith, but in the end, he chooses to trust that God is good, even if he doesn't understand why things are happening. Significance of the Book of Job. This book doesn't offer easy answers, but it gives us a voice for our own struggles. It shows that it's okay to question and wrestle with our faith. It reminds us that even in the darkest times, holding on to faith can be a powerful source of strength. So, that's a taste of the key themes in the Book of Job. If you're interested in learning more about this mind-blowing story, leave a comment below. And don't forget to smash that like button. Alright folks, that brings us to the end of the Book of Job. It's a wild ride, right? We started with a man who had everything, then lost it all, and spent the whole book wrestling with big questions about suffering and God's plan. So, what's the takeaway? Here's the thing. The book doesn't give us easy answers. Job doesn't get a full explanation for his suffering, but he does get something even better. A direct encounter with God. This encounter humbles Job. He realizes the vastness of God's power and the mystery of his ways. And in that humility, Job finds a deeper faith. The book ends with Job restored, not to his old life exactly, but to a new one, with a family and even greater blessings. But the real focus is on the transformation of his heart. So, the next time you face hardship, remember Job. Remember that faith can be tested, but it can also be deepened. And remember, there are mysteries beyond our understanding, but that doesn't mean there's no meaning to be found. Hey everyone, wrapping up this video on the Book of Job, but before we go, I wanted to see if you have any lingering questions. This is a complex book that tackles big issues, so fire away in the comments below. Here are some things you might be curious about. The nature of suffering. Why does God allow good people like Job to suffer? Job's friends. Were they really bad comforters, or was there some truth to their advice? The speeches of God. What do the long sections from God reveal about his character and justice? The ending of the book. Does Job really get answers, or is the focus something else entirely? These are just a few ideas, but anything related to the Book of Job is fair game. Let me know what's on your mind. Thanks for joining me on this exploration of the Book of Job. If you enjoyed this, hit that like button and let me know what other biblical stories you'd like to delve into next. Until then, stay curious, stay faithful, and stay blessed.